everybody, welcome back to the Essential Al. Erin here to make another cold process soap. This is custom order 5 of 6, so very close to the end. You might be able to see back here in the background the soap that I just made, and that is the confetti soap that's made from the shreds of a seized soap. And now I'm going to be making the purple and yellow swirled soap. It's actually an essential oil soap rather than a fragrance oil soap. I don't do that very often. I should do it more often. I tend to go for the fragrance oils. There's just so much more options with a fragrance oil than there is with an essential oil. But that's just personal opinion. Some people prefer essential oil soaps. Some people don't have a preference. Some people, you know, it's just completely up to up to us as individuals to decide what we like. But this soap specifically was requested to be an essential oil soap. It's a lavender chamomile blend, and that is why I go with the purple and the yellow. Ordinarily, I don't imagine that I would put those two colors together, but it actually works out really well. This one was a favorite because it's just very pretty. So I've already got my oils all melted and all that fun stuff. There's already titanium dioxide and a little bit of the snowflake sparkle mica in the base. And I mentioned this in the last video with the last batch of soap that I just made, this one back here. This is just shimmer. That's all that this mica is. It looks silver or gray, but this will not color a soap by itself. It is only meant to add a little bit of extra shimmer and sparkle to your batch. That's it. So I thought I would throw just a little bit of that in there. And for the colors, I will be using Yellow Vibrance mica powder from Nurture Soap, very, very yellow, and Purple Vibrance mica from Nurture. One of the best purples ever. I have never had this purple morph on me or fade or anything like that. Sometimes purple micas are a little bit tricky. Purple in particular, for some reason. Purple just seems to be a really hard color to nail down. And I feel like Nurture really did well with the Purple Vibrance. Now, because there is titanium dioxide in the base, these colors will turn more pastel, a little bit lighter. Well, a lot lighter, really. And I think that it goes much better than the bright, vivid colors that they would be in just a plain soap batter. So I don't think that I have anything else. Whoa, sorry about that. There we go. I don't think that I had anything else that I wanted to talk about before I got started. So without further ado, let's get right into the making of this soap. That is at a good texture. It's a thin trace. I took it just a little bit past emulsification because it's a little bit harder to tell when everything is all blended up when you add titanium dioxide or any kind of colorant before you get started, before you actually get your lye water in there, because when you have your oils and then you take your lye water and pour that in, as it mixes, the whole thing turns opaque. But if you have titanium dioxide in there already, it's really hard to tell when you have reached at least emulsification. So I just wanted to be sure that everything was good and blended in, which it is, and it's a very, very light trace, if you can see that. So I am happy with that. So now I'm going to split off my colorants. I'm going to try to make it be very little. We shall see how that works out. Get the spatula a little bit clean so I can try to avoid drips everywhere. Don't know how well that's going to work, but we'll see. Yeah, that was much better. Okay, and now just a little bit in here. I really need to get more of the easy pour containers like this with the long spout from Brambleberry or from somewhere, because it's really, it makes pouring so much easier. Okay, I'm going to leave that aside. Now I'm going to get out my colorants. I'm going to start with yellow over here. I did mention that I've never really had morphing issues with the Purple Vibrance mica, but I have had this Yellow Vibrance morph on me and turn a more orangey yellow, which is fine, but sometimes it's not what I'm after. It seems like when I have titanium dioxide mixed in with it to dilute that yellow, that bright yellow, it seems to not morph nearly as much. So let me go ahead and get these blended. So I've got my colors blended in. As you can see, that purple is much more muted with that titanium dioxide in there, which is great. That's exactly what I was going for. I'm going to set this over here out of the way. Hopefully not touch anything. And this is the yellow that we ended up with. It's definitely not nearly as vibrant. It's more of a creamy yellow. That's perfect. That's exactly what I was going for. And last time I made this particular soap, the yellow was not quite as yellow. I didn't put as much mica in the yellow portion, and the base is already a little bit yellowish, this off-white color, and this is starting to thicken, possibly because of the titanium dioxide in it. Everything is very cool, room temperature. Everything has been setting for several hours. Titanium dioxide will thicken your soap, not as a rule, but generally. Any part of soap that you put titanium dioxide in will thicken faster, and I'm not really sure why this doesn't thicken quite as much, these colors, but they never do. Anything that I leave just white with just straight titanium dioxide ends up thickening. Anyway, like I was saying, the base is already a little bit yellow, that off-white, and there wasn't a whole lot of contrast between the base and the yellow. So I wanted to make sure that I had good contrast going this time. And I think that this is going to stand out much more. So it's always a little bit of a rodeo when I've got so many different containers. So let's get this lined up for you all to be able to see. Sorry about the lighting. It is dark outside. It's about 10:45 right now. I have some wild Friday nights, I tell you all. Okay, now I'm going to start with some white. So this time, this soap will not be quite as swirly, or I'm predicting that it won't be, because the white is quite a bit thicker than it was the last time that I made this. but that's fine. Whoa. Wow, that was a stupid thing that I just did. Did anybody see that? I don't know. Yep, I think y'all probably could have seen that, but we're going to pretend it didn't happen. So now I'm just going to pour a little bit of the yellow in here. And then that purple turned out so pretty. Y'all see that? Very pretty. That looks like the Hulk, by the way. Purple and green. Okay, moving on. Just my inner nerd coming out. It's fine. Okay, and a little bit of the purple. This makes a really stunning soap. And I just leave it as a drop swirl. Even though I might hanger it this time if this thickens up anymore. We'll see. Okay, go back in with some white. Do some more yellow. Now some purple. Come on, purple. There you go. Everything is thickening up, probably because of the titanium dioxide again. Whoa, that was more purple than I wanted. That's fine. Now white. I do think that I'm going to swirl this time. Probably just with my dowel. Okay, and this will be the last bit of color that I'm going to put into here. And now purple. Maybe if I can get it to come out. There we go. And now, let's go back in with some white. Right there on the top. I hope I'm not blocking everything. That would be a shame. I apologize if I did block a lot of that. I didn't realize that at that angle that I was blocking it. And I'm just going to kind of smooth that out. And I'm going to take my oak dowel and I'm just going to, actually going to turn it this way for just a moment just to make it easier for me to go in and swirl. I'm just going up and down. Now, gloves. I'm going to decorate the top. I don't think I'm going to get the same effect with the top as I did with the last time I made this soap, because last time I made it, it was much more fluid. This texture right here, this consistency of the soap is totally fine. It's really great. It's at a fantastic trace. This is very easy to work with. A lot of people like their soaps to be at this consistency. I prefer a much more fluid soap. I think it makes drop swirls look a lot better because it makes them more wispy and thin. And the soap sort of naturally swirls itself a little bit more. But that's fine. If I can't get it to do what I did last time, it's not that big of a deal. And if you don't know what the other batch of this looked like the last time that I made it, it was very fluid, very almost watery, and it was so fluid that I did a sort of paint spatter look on the top. It was very pretty. I recommend giving that one a watch if you're new or if you didn't see that one. It was very pretty. I was really happy with it. well enough alone. Okay, I am going to tamp this down on the floor. And yeah, that's way too thick. If you can see that consistency, how it just plops and it holds shape. That is too thick to do what I wanted to with it. So I am going to swirl the top of it. Just gonna do some little splatters here and there. And now I'll do the same with purple. Get some of that purple in there. It's just funny to me how you can do a recipe almost exactly the same and still end up with different soap consistencies. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when in several of my videos I talk about behaviors of fragrances and how just because a fragrance says that it's going to rise or accelerate or thin your trace or anything like that, a soap may just go completely rogue and not behave at all like expected. And I have had fragrance oils, or essential oils in this case, act completely different in 2 different batches. I mean, if you go back and watch the other video that I made making this soap, you will see how much different. Like, see how it just kind of sits on the spatula in a little glob right there? The last batch would have just dripped right off. Now, I'm going to scrape a little bit of this white back on just to give a little bit more contrast. So I'm very excited. I ordered a custom mold from an Etsy shop, and it's, instead of a silicone and wood box liner, it's a clear, I believe it's acrylic. I'm not really sure what the mold is made out of now that I sit here and think about it. I knew what it was made out of when I ordered it, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what the material is. But it's clear, and it's the same size as these molds. And I'm very excited. I think that's going to be really cool to see, to be able to look through the sides of the soap mold and see exactly what you're doing. So I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like. I'm going to bang this down on the floor. Alright, now I'm going to take a dowel, or probably just a dropper. Yeah, let's do a dropper. So I've got this dropper, and how do I want to swirl the top, you all? I don't know. I feel like I do that infinity swirl movement a lot. Can you all see it better if I do it this way? Does it matter? You all tell me, do you prefer it when it's long ways towards you or this way? Let me know what's easier to watch, what's better. I would love to hear it. But I think I do that infinity swirl a little bit too much lately. I don't know. What do you all think? I think I am just going to do one of these types of swirls. And this is already thickening, as you can see. So, there's that. Now I'm going to go this way. All right, there's that. I'm gonna actually clean off my edges real quick. or at least clean them up a little bit better. Because I want to bang this down on the floor again to sort of, if you can see, if you can tell, the dropper left really deep indents as I swirled because the soap is starting to set up already. And I want to bang it down on the floor to sort of let those settle back in a little bit, so they're not quite so dippy, I guess. Dippy. But I'm very excited for my mold to come in. It was supposed to ship today, so I'm hoping to have it within a couple of days, and I'm very excited to share what that looks like with you all. I'm going to be doing, I don't really want to call it a demo, but sort of a demo. All right, that already looks much better. I'll show you all when I bring you in for the close-up, but I'm going to do one final small cleanup around these edges. Can't believe how fast that set up. That soap, this soap, last time behaved beautifully. It stayed so fluid and so nice. And again, there is nothing wrong with this consistency at all. A lot of people really try to achieve a really nice trace like that, especially if you're doing mounded or textured tops or doing craters or anything like that, because it does whatever you want it to. But again, for the design for this soap, I really wanted to try to do the paint splatter again, but it was just not going to work with this consistency. And I could not for the life of me tell you why exactly it was different. It just was. And that's all I got for you. All right. So, before I move on any further, I want to try to scrape out as much of this soap as I can out of these containers and stick it in my little owl mold, because I hate wasting soap, even the scraps. So what I do is I fill up this little soap mold, this little owl mold, that I believe I also bought off of Etsy or perhaps Amazon. And I just plop it down in there and I make myself a little owl. Sometimes I get a full one, sometimes I don't. And use it for myself. And I have quite a few sitting on my shelf right now waiting for me to use them. So that way I also get to try out my own soap that you all can also buy on my Etsy shop. A link is in the description down below. I am trying to sell more of my stock before I move on to making soap batches for myself, because I have very limited space and I am very nearly out of room because of all the batches that I have made recently. And I need to see some movement in my stock so I can make room for new stuff. And I do have some things planned as far as soap, some different designs and scents and things like that. So if you're interested, do me a big old favor, support me in this channel, and head on over to that Etsy shop and see if there's anything you'd like to try. Greatly appreciate it. Helps me keep making videos without selling the soap. I both can't make more because I don't have room, but also because when I sell soap, I can use those funds to buy more soap supplies. This can be a very expensive hobby. It can also be a very cheap hobby, but I like doing these fancy colored swirled scented soaps, and so it is not that cheap. I do love it though. Love it, love it. right, let's bring you all in for a close-up. So this is what we've got. I think it turned out really nice. I'm glad that I went with a darker yellow or a more vivid yellow as compared to last time. And actually the colors are much more vivid on camera than they are in real life. I'll take a couple of pictures or maybe take video with the flash on or something like that to try to really capture the true colors of this soap, because I'm telling you guys, the color of that soap on the phone as compared to what I'm actually seeing, the phone is actually like 3 shades darker. And that's because the lighting in here is terrible. I have one overhead light that's in the center of the room, and my table is over in the corner, and I have a very small lamp on this table, and it is also dark outside, if you can see. It's blurry, but it's dark outside. So that does not help. I can kind of change the lighting, but then you can't see the soap that well. I can change the focus, try to make it brighter, but I don't know. So that is all that I have for you all for this portion of the video. I will bring you back for the cut. Hello everybody, welcome back. We're gonna cut this soap now. Oh, maybe. Let me kind of rearrange some stuff here. I don't want to talk about the mess that is my table, okay? I know that it is a mess. This batch right here that is on the cutter is my second batch of today that I have made. And I now have to make 2 more batches of the same soap, and that will complete our cold process order. Now, I just made this soap a couple of hours ago. It's still a little bit tacky. Actually, I take that back. After it's sat out in the open for just a couple of minutes, it has become not tacky anymore. But it is pretty warm still. It's at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, if you can see that. So, in the confetti soap, I just cut it. It was still 90 degrees inside. And I made that probably 2 hours before I made this batch. So, the soaps take quite a while to cool off, but it is quite firm. So, it is ready to cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And I had to go ahead and cut both of these soaps now because I only have the 2 soap molds. So in order to make the last 2 batches, I have to have the soap molds. And this needs to be done tonight. I'm ready to get it done and over with. I have made soap back to back to back, and I'm ready for it to just be over for just a couple of days. It has been a process. So let's go on. Actually, let me show you. I know we're at a different angle. It's because I forgot what I was doing and I went ahead and set up for the making of this next batch. So you're up a little bit higher, but I will still show you all of the bars and everything. So here is the top. I like it a lot. I think it turned out really cool. And then the sides, so you can see the swirls, and you can see where this did not gel here, and then this did. You can see what a difference the gel phase made in that yellow, and that's what I'm talking about. You can see that looks quite orange, and then this bit, for example, stayed very pale yellow, and this will likely lighten up as it sits. That's what happened with the orange in the Citrus Mistress. So it's likely that the orange or the yellow on top will lighten up too. And as I mentioned earlier, the soap is not this dark. It's a much lighter shade of purple than what is showing up on the phone. I apologize for that. It's just because of the lighting in this room being so terrible. So let's go on and get to cutting. Let me make myself some room. Good grief, I might have to graduate to a larger table soon. All right, first cut. And that cut through so fast, so I think this is a perfect time to cut. Ooh, I think you all are gonna like this. So there's the back. And then there is that beautiful inside. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, I love it. And then the top. Yes, this one turned out very nice. Not like the last batch of this, but very pretty in its own right, in my opinion. Let me know what you all think down below. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this. Do you all like this as much as I do? That's so interesting. You can see I missed a little bit of the purple on the top, but look at that swirl. Isn't that pretty? And then the little touches of yellow. I love it. Ooh, yes. Wow, that is so pretty. And I just bumped that a little bit. Darn it. There we go. And then the top. But look at that. I love it. Oh my goodness. I'm very, very happy with this. I kind of wish I had made this for my own store. And maybe I will try and recreate this swirl in another batch for the Escentual Owl, as long as I can move some of my current stuff. That one turned out interesting. You can see a lot of yellow up top. I love how there's this random tail right here of color. Very pretty. And then the top, I love that top. And this is textured. You can run your finger over it and feel all the little ripples. I'll just show you from the side. You can see. Very nice. And in case you're wondering, none of the sparkle, shimmer sparkle, snowflake sparkle? Yeah, snowflake sparkle mica really came through in this. And I think that's because of the titanium dioxide. Titanium dioxide just masks pretty much everything. So you don't see, I don't see any sparkle whatsoever. It's completely matte. And that's fine. I halfway expected it. But I thought I would give it a shot. Maybe I'll add some to this next batch. There's one side. Ooh, look at that. And the other. Ooh. See, I love how different the swirls are on every single bar. That is one of my absolute favorite parts of soaping, is that every single bar is different. It's like a surprise every time, and I love it. So there's one side and the other. That's kind of cool how it dips down and back up. And then the top. There's one side. And the other. Look at that there. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. So this definitely did not turn out like the last soap, but I'm not mad about that at all. I kind of wish I had done the first one like this. So there's one side. And then the other. Ooh, I like that one too. I'm sorry that I'm so repetitive. I just, like I said, it's a surprise every time, and I just love it. And this is, I needed to count and make sure I have my measurements right. This is the last bar right down the middle. Let's do the last piece first. So there's one side. Those kind of look like ducks or swans. Look at that. And then there's the back, the top. And our final bar. There's one side and the other. They really do look like those long-necked dinosaurs or ducks or something, swans. That's kind of funny. And then there's the top. And that is all that I have for you all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell icon so you don't miss any of my uploads. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think of this soap. Did you enjoy this? Do you like this soap as much as I do? Because I love this. I'm super happy with how this turned out. And just tell me about your day. Tell me how things are going. Ask questions. Just say hi. I love hearing from you guys. It makes my day. Check out my Etsy shop. The link is in the description down below. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.